sarvani bhutani
Atmaiva Bud Vijanata
atmeva bhut vijnanata
Tatra Ko Moha Kashoka
tatra ko moha ka soka
Ekadvam Manupashyata.
ekatvam anupashyata.
Okay, your turn.
All right, okay. Yasmin sarvani bhutani
Yasmin Savani Bhutani
atmeva bhut vijnanata
Admaiva Bud Vijanata
tatra ko moha ka soka
Tatra Ko Moha Kashoka
ekatvam anupashyata.
Ekadva Manupashyata. Want to read the translation, please?
Yeah. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks in quality one with the Lord becomes a true knower of what then can be illusion or anxiety for him.
So this is real knowledge, to see that we're all living entities, part and parcel of the Lord, and one in quality with Him. That's real knowledge.
Yeah, last week you said something, and I really, like that part, illusion and anxiety part, saying what's the cause of it? It's because we don't have the complete knowledge. In the sense that we always, we are anxious because we don't know something, we are not sure about something. That's because of our ignorance, because we don't have information or knowledge. So that's so true. It's usually in any life situation, if you look at that, anxiety is because you don't know what's going to happen. You're trying, but you don't know what's going to happen because you don't have the complete knowledge. You don't have.
So this is a solution to all of our anxieties and fears and lamentation and so forth, is to get this knowledge. And not just any knowledge which you get from a library or whatever, but this knowledge coming from the Vedic authority basically means coming from God. Knowledge coming down from God in parampara, disciplic succession, getting that knowledge which explains who we are, that we're the eternal soul, who God is, Krishna, and our relationship within bhakti, how to do that. So this kind of knowledge, and our real home is in the Vaikuntha and everything, this material world is temporary, full of suffering, all this kind of knowledge, this is the knowledge that will free us from all these negative traits that we're experiencing.
Yeah, just the other thing is,
getting a PhD or BSc MBA is not going to help us.
Not going to help.
That's going to entangle us more in ignorance. That's going to entangle us more, because often through that so-called knowledge, we get more an illusion, thinking I can be happy in this material world. I can control this material world and enjoy this material world, and like that. So it makes us think this is our home and we can be happy here. And I'm better than others because I have more knowledge and everything. I'm more educated and I can make more money. And what are we going to do? We get a better job with that education and get more money. And what do we do with the money? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We use it for sinful activities,
You are entangling yourself. That's what we have done, isn't it? We have created so many things to entangle ourselves, which is not necessary. It's not 100% necessary, but that's why I said that kind of a knowledge. You're basically looking into material and finding solution of the things materially, which is not going to happen. It's not the final solution. We will keep entangling. If you look at allopathy or the modern medicine, when we didn't have that, when we were living more naturally, there were less problems. Now we have problems, like even if you go hospital, like you do chemotherapy, or we are creating more problems. We don't know. We are subsiding one thing, but creating something other which we don't. So that's just one example, but we have complicating our lives. Just keep going like that. So I think it's so true, and that's what you said. We are not correctly living. So we are basically finding solution in material, which is never going to be the final solution to all the problems.
We're trying to find solutions, but materially we never get there. We just create more problems.
And
in the process of trying to find
looking for a
solutions, we
solution in
create
the
more
wrong
problems.
platform. We are looking the solution at the material platform, which is incorrect. I mean, which is wrong. So if you, whatever solution you, it's not gonna solve any problem.
Yeah. See, Maya Maya, the material energy of the Lord, Maya Shakti, is far more powerful than us. So no matter how much we struggle in the material world, we're never going to be able to overcome the Maya, by our own effort. Just like if a fly enters into a spider web, the more the fly tries to get out, it gets more stuck. It puts one hand down there, one leg, and it gets stuck more. And then it tries to get off with another leg, and it gets stuck there. So the more it struggles, the more it gets tangled up. And another example is a fish. If it goes into a net, the more it struggles in the net, the more it gets tangled in the net. So the idea there is the more we struggle in the material world to try to overpower the material world and control the material world, enjoy in the material world, the more we become entangled in the material world, and we get tangled in what? In birth and death and old age and disease, so forth. But the best thing is that if we take shelter of the Lord is more powerful than Maya. See, we are less powerful than Maya. She's more powerful than us. But the best solution is the take shelter of the Lord. He is much more powerful. He is the control of Maya. So by his mercy, he can disentangle us from the Maya. But on our own, it's impossible.
Yeah, and that's what we are trying to do, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, there are practical example, like we have created vehicles, we using fossil fuel, and we are using, for generating other impacts like greenhouse, and then, you're solving immediate problem, but you're not looking at the broader picture. You're breaking something else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the platform is wrong. It's not going to solve any problem, and the problem, I don't think it's going to stop, because we are going wrong on the wrong platform, basically.
Yeah, it's the wrong platform. Yeah, we can solve the problem, but on the spiritual platform. That's the thing. Okay, so let's continue where we left off. So, in this mantra, so it's second paragraph.
Okay. In this mantra, the word ekatvam anupashyata indicate that one should see the unity of all living entities from the viewpoint of the revealed scriptures. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, the Lord, possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme. These qualities are present in minute quantity. For the living entity is but minute part and parcel of the Supreme Whole.
Okay, we'll hold it there. There's a couple points there. We'll just cover them. So one thing is that this is talking about anupashyati, seeing. But what's explained here is seeing through the higher authorities, not just when this is not talking about, we see that all living entities are one in quality with the Lord with our eyes. This is talking about seeing that we're one in quality with the Lord through the eyes of scriptures, basically through our ears. See, we're seeing through our ears, through hearing from authority. So that's called jnana chakshush. We've talked about it before. Or shastra chakshush. Shastra chakshush. So chakshush is eyes, and shastra means the scriptures, or jnana means knowledge. So we're learning to see things in the proper way through hearing from the Vedic authorities, basically hearing from God, coming down through the disciples, coming down from God. And that's actually mentioned in the word-for-word translation. Also, Prabhupada mentions that last word in the verse, anupashyata, one who sees through authority, or one who sees constantly like that. So seeing through authority is the important thing, because these eyes are pretty useless. We're never going to have any kind of fantastic knowledge through our eyes. The main knowledge we're going to get is through our ears, through hearing, through either, with our eyes we're reading the book, or we're hearing from someone speak, an authority speak. But basically it's through this process of hearing, Shravanam. So 9 processes of Bhakti Yoga. Shravanam is the first one, hearing. And it's the first one for an important reason, not by chance. It's the foundation of all the other 8 processes. This Shravanam process, hearing, is very essential. And none of the 9 processes is seeing. We've got hearing, we've got chanting, we've got remembering, we've got worshipping, we've got serving. So like that, there's 9 processes. None of the 9 is of bhakti is through seeing. So
That's a very good point. Yeah.
Prabhupada's guru, he said something very interesting, which inspired Prabhupada, and which that inspires us also. He said his guru told him and others, don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to see you. That's interesting, huh? I'll say that again. Don't try to see God, but act in such a way that God will want to see you. So you try to act in a way that's pleasing to him, that he likes, and that's attractive to him. And then if he glances on us, then our life's successful, our life's perfect. If he wants to see us, that what more could we ask for? That's perfection of our life. Then we become a siddha. You're automatically a siddha, a perfect person. If God is attracted to seeing us, and what attracts God? Only bhakti attracts God. Basically, a loving attitude of service, and that's what attracts. And that's actually the nature of the soul. Is everyone is searching for love, and we have that same quality as God, because like it's saying here, we're one in quality with God. So he is an ocean of love, and we are just a minute particle of love as well, of wanting love, to give love and receive love. And we can understand God also by understanding ourselves, just like we like to have loving relations with family members, right? That you giving love to your wife and kids, and they're giving their love to you, and you enjoy that and they enjoy that. So in the same way that God has expanded himself into his unlimited parts and parcels to engage in loving relationships with them. That's the reason why we exist, why he's expanded himself into all of us, to increase his pleasure, and through that exchanges those loving relationships.
Yeah, I think that's very good. Because we don't have capacity to actually see him, but he has told us a method with which he can actually see us. That is with us, right? That's what he's telling. That's the way he's telling. This is the way you can reach me. Otherwise, your material eyes and your material senses won't. And then the other thing is that you hear about that thing from the whole disciplic succession. You get the proper authority, how you can actually see it all makes sense.
And then of course, after the Lord sees us and purifies us by his association, by his presence, then our vision will change, automatically. Then we'll have that spiritual vision, that we can see his spiritual form. and our own spiritual form. At the moment, with these material eyes, we can't see anything spiritual. So it has no value whatsoever in spiritual realization. But after we've been purified by bhakti and have the association of the Lord, then we'll be able to see things as they are, in reality. But that comes later. But in the beginning, we have to hear. And the main thing is to hear from authority. And the other point mentioned here, as spiritual sparks, we possess almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but not quantitatively equal. So it's actually, he says almost 80%. So the exact percentage is 78%, which is said the Lord has 64 transcendental qualities. And as part and parcel of the Lord, we have up to 50 of those 64 qualities. So 50 qualities we can have, the individual jiva, out of 64 qualities. So if you did that, 64 divided by 50, that comes to 78%. So, and of those 50 qualities, we can't possess any of them fully, but just a small amount of those 50. That's why he says quantitatively different. So we can have those 50 qualities, but just a small amount of those 50 qualities. And the remaining 14 qualities, we can't even have a minute part of them. Well, I'll give you an example. One of the remaining 14 qualities is that he creates universes. So we can never do that. So things like that. And so up to, see, the most pious living being in the universe is Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma can possess up to 50 qualities of God, and some amount of those 50 qualities. He possesses more of those 50 qualities than we do, but he's a living entity like us. And then you have Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, he can possess up to 55 out of 64 qualities. And then Lord Narayan, or the other Vishnu Tattva, they can possess, they do possess 60 out of 64 qualities. 60 out of 64. But only Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities. And one of those remaining 4 is that he attracts all the living entities by playing the flute. This only Krishna does this. Not even any other form of Vishnu or living entity or Shiva or anyone can attract all the living entities by his super excellent flute playing. And another quality Krishna possesses is that he has unlimited beauty. His beauty is just extraordinary beauty that attracts all the living entities. There's no form that compares with the beauty of the form of Krishna. There's no other form in the material world or spiritual world that comes anywhere near how beautiful Krishna's form. And then another quality is that he's always surrounded by loving devotees. Krishna's never alone. He's always surrounded by so many devotees. The gopis and the cows and the peacocks and the deers and so many, mother and father, Nanda, Baba, Yashoda, like that, or the Pandavas when he left Vrindavan, or so many devotees serving him. So he's always surrounded by so many associates. And so that was the flute playing, the beauty, the associates. And his extraordinary pastimes, his lila. No other personality has pastimes like Krishna, like lifting the Govardhan hill, like dancing on the Kalya Naga, like the Rasa Leela, Makanchor Leela, all these wonderful pastimes. There's no other personality that has pastimes like that. So like these are some of Krishna's transcendental qualities, and those last four are ones that only Krishna possesses, nobody else. And but 50 of them we can possess a small amount of those, and
which
as
part of
as we
the Vedic literature, or which Upanishad is explained this part 80% and all those 64?
Good question. So that's a book, luckily, that Prabhupada has translated. It's called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He's translated that name as Nectar of Devotion. So it's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, and it gives each quality, what number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's all listed out there. It's all listed out there, and telling that up to Lord Brahma can possess 50, and Shiva 55, Narayan 60, Krishna 64. So it lists out all those qualities and who can possess them. So you can get that book, Nectar of Devotion, which was originally written by Rupa Goswami, one of the immediate disciples of Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. And he took that knowledge from various Vedic sources, and he compiled it into the book Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Okay, so yeah, let's continue.
64, and then it's
yeah.
Okay.
And that's important to understand, because a person possesses qualities. So by this also, if he's talking about God has qualities, and also that we have qualities, it means that both he is a person and we are a person. We're not just energy. Energy doesn't really have qualities. No, I mean, it might have, a few. Maybe a few qualities, but not very many. If it just energy, formless, just formless energy doesn't have many qualities. Like if you were going to talk about the subject of sunlight, name the qualities of sunlight, you wouldn't go very far. It's basically some heat, some light, and that's about it. But when you talk about a person, a person has many qualities. Oh, they're very humble. Oh, they're very kind. They're very forgiving. They're very patient. They're very tolerant. They're very, speak very sweetly. They're, so you can go on and on, how many qualities. So when it talks about God has 64 qualities, so that's indicating also that God's a person, is not just energy.
Yeah. That makes sense, yeah. Okay. Should I go ahead and read?
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean. But the salt present in the drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. If the individual living being were equal to Supreme Lord, both qualitatively and quantitatively, there would be no question of being under the influence of material energy.
Do you get that? Do you get that point?
Yeah. I think, it's saying if you're sane, then you won't be actually under the influence of material because you have the same qualities as God.
Yeah. So of course, the Mayavadis say that we are God, but then you can easily defeat that philosophy, because if we are God, then how is it possible that God comes under the influence of his own Maya? Because if Maya is an energy of God, how can the energy overcome the controller of the energy, the creator of the energy? That's obviously not logical. So this is just a logical point, that if we were God, then how is it possible that we've come under the control of Maya? Because actually, Maya is under the control of God, not the other way around. That otherwise it doesn't make sense. So just like it's examples given, just like the sun creates clouds. Do you understand how the sun creates clouds?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because sun, the heat goes into the ocean, and then the vaporizes, and then vapor goes up there. I mean,
yeah. So that's how it does it. So the sun creates clouds through evaporation, comes in the cloud, and then can a cloud cover the sun?
Not really. I don't. There sometimes yes they can, but it depends on from what perspective you're looking at. If you're looking from my perspective, sometimes it covers me, but otherwise.
Think about it. Is the sun covered by the cloud, or is our eyes covered by the cloud? How wide is the sun? It's like millions of miles wide. I mean, the cloud is not millions of miles wide. The cloud is hundreds of miles. So how can 100-mile object cover a millions of miles object? Obviously it's not. But what's covered is our tiny eye. So the cloud has come between our eye and the sun. So we can't see the sun because of the cloud. But it's like when you go on a plane, right? When you go on a plane, when you're above the cloud, then nothing's covering your eye. But so it's our eye that's covered by the cloud, not that the sun is covered. So the same way, Maya can cover us because we are much smaller than Maya, but Maya can never cover God, just like a cloud can never cover the sun, just that our eyes are covered by the sun. So when the Mayavadis say that we're God, that we've just, forgotten that we're God because of Maya, and when we remember that we're God, like that. But then that whole theory doesn't make sense. How can God be covered by his own illusory energy? This doesn't make any sense. That means Maya is more greater than God. And if Maya is greater than God, well, then that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Then Maya is God. If you say Maya is great, because God means the greatest. Vibhu is the greatest. So if you're saying Maya is more powerful than God, then Maya is God. So it just doesn't make any sense. It's just full of holes, their philosophy. So we can if we're under the influence of Maya, it means we're not God. We can immediately know that. If we are under
control, That's it.
If you find yourself under the control of something, and because God means he's the supreme controller, Ishvara Parama Krishna. He's the Ishvara Parama, the supreme controller, is Krishna. So if we're not in control, if we're under control of Maya or God or anyone, then it means we're not God. So, and if we're not God now, it means also that we can never be God in future. Because they might say, well, when I get free from Maya, I'll become God. But that's also illogical, because by definition, God is always God, past, present, and future. You can't become God through doing meditation, through doing yoga, through doing tapasya, through any yagya. You can't do anything to become God, because God is by definition always God. How can not God become God? You can't become God. His position is eternally fixed position. He's the original being, the supreme being, all powerful, everything like that. So that idea also of, okay, I'm not God now, but I'm going to do some meditation and everything and become God, that also is illogical, because God is always God eternally. You can't become God. Someone that's not God can't become God. That's also illogical.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, and the thing is that I think Yeah, because and thing is, even if you have acquired the qualities, but you won't have those, 100%, because
Yeah.
you're part of something which
Yeah.
is much bigger, which has created you. It
Yeah.
can't be, and if that's the Mayavadi's theory is that, then there will be a lot of gods. I mean, yeah, which is incorrect. I mean,
Yeah.
there's only one, and he has created everything. So that doesn't make sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
as you said, too many loopholes in the story. Mayavadi beliefs. Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, it's riddled with a lot of faults. But like Prabhupada explained, we can't become God, but we can become godly. So that's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to become godly. Means like God. Like God. Not God, but like Him. So we want to develop that qualitative likeness. That what He likes, we like. What His interests are, that we adopt the same interests. Means like try to line up with Him, become more compatible. It's like if you want to have a relationship with someone, you got to have things in common, right? You both like cooking, or you both like sports, or things like that. So we've got to line up our interests, and that's what Prabhupada's going to talk about later in this purport. Is that the oneness talked about here is the ekatvam, the oneness between us and God, is we want to develop oneness in our interests. Just like Arjuna, in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he didn't want to fight. And in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, what did Krishna want?
He wants him to fight, I guess. Yeah.
He wants him to fight. So Krishna wants the fight to happen. And Arjuna didn't want a fight to happen. So what is that in terms of interests? Is that one interest or two interests?
Conflicting, yeah.
That's a conflicting interest. So, and the end of the Bhagavad Gita, what did Krishna want?
He wanted him to fight, and I think Arjuna agreed, because he explained the reason why he should fight.
So after hearing from Krishna, then Arjuna's interest changed to line up with Krishna's. See, if I held two side by side, so there was two, and then it became one. So the same interest. So you still got two individuals, but with the same interests. That Krishna wants something, and you want the same thing. Whereas in material consciousness, God wants this, and you want that. You want something else, and it's like diametrical. But the real oneness is that you've still got the two individuals, but they both in harmony with what they desire, with what they want. And we see even in our relationships, it makes things go a lot better, isn't it? If the both partners or whatever have the same sort of vision, the same goals, then things go better. Otherwise it ends up in divorce, right? That I'm going this way and you're going that way. So that's the way it works, and that's the real oneness. And in Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, there's complete oneness there. Everyone is just cooperating together to please Krishna, to serve Krishna. And everyone loves Krishna, and Krishna loves everyone. So there's a complete harmony and unity there. Whereas in the material world, what do we experience here? Do we find there's peace and love and harmony and everything? There's so much conflict. Oh my God. Talk about, we call it conflict of interest, right? So we all want completely different things, and that creates a lot of conflict, that we have a different interest,
And at every scale, I mean, for individuals to society to countries, I mean, at every level there are so many conflicts.
Yeah. There's no oneness. There's no oneness.
There's no oneness.
See, Prabhupada talks about the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam. about, he talks about there's no unity, no harmony. And although there's so many modern technological advancements, but he says there's a pinprick in society. And that, so it seems like there's a lot of good things. We've made rapid advancement in the medical field and the technological field, scientific, everything like that. But there's a pinprick in society. And he says what that is that what's disturbing us is there's no unity, no harmony. So then basically everything that we've been doing is no value, because the real thing that we want, which is peace and harmony and love and everything, we can't have it, you know. So because we're straight away from this point that we're all part and parcel of God, you know, and when we understand that, we have one Father and we're all brothers and sisters. So we should get on together and cooperate, you know, if we realize that. Yeah, that's real universal brotherhood. Yeah. Otherwise, it's never going to be there. Otherwise, it's black and white and, you know, Christian and Muslim and man and woman and young and old.
You're actually classifying based on what the person is wearing, right? Clothes. It
doesn't
matter. So body and color and all those and boundaries. And that's the problem. I think that's because of the I was reading Tamsa Buddhi, means material conception.
Ignorance. Yeah. As long as we operate in this ignorant platform of the body, is always going to be conflict and duality and so much fighting and everything. But if we operate on the spiritual platform, that where we all come from the same source, we have the same Supreme Father, and we're all brothers and sisters, then problem solved. You know, then we just get on with the work and you know, help each other to
will come back. Satyug will come back if everyone goes like that. I mean, I guess, but it's a cycle. I guess it's you can't. I mean, but we should stop trying. I guess.
No, I mean, we can't expect in Kali Yuga that everyone's going to operate on that consciousness, but we can create a little spiritual bubble within Kali Yuga around ourselves, and whoever wants can, you know, join that bubble. Like Prabhupada created that Vaikuntha bubble, and many, as you know, thousands of people joined that bubble. And even though physically he's no longer present, but still that bubble is there. And that's the power of this spiritual energy of bhakti.
You'll have a chance in Kali Yuga. Some people have chance to actually go and do things right way. I mean, that's an opportunity. So you still have. It's not bad. Kali Yuga is not bad. There are still opportunities, but Maya is too strong, I guess. The material thing. So,
we just have to I mean, Prabhupada was, one person said that in a class once, that basically a criticism on Krishna, that Krishna has made this Maya so strong, like as a criticism that, you know, that Krishna's really thrown us in the prison and thrown away the key. You know, you can't get out. So, but Prabhupada turned it around and he said, it's not that Maya is too strong, but your desire is not strong. Your desire to surrender and to serve Krishna is not strong. So that's what we, rather than complain that Maya is too strong, but Prabhupada's point is we should try to develop our own strength of character and develop our own strong desire to want to serve Krishna. And we can do that because we have something very special in a human body, and that's called free choice. We have free choice. We don't have to surrender to Maya. We can, of course, but we have the choice also if we want to surrender to Krishna and serve Krishna. So that choice we have. So that's a bit of a cop-out saying, oh, Maya's too strong, I give up.
I think that's... I think that's like, it's like, if you get something very easy and you don't, it doesn't value. So he has made it difficult so that you can appreciate it. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm just
speculating. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're put under this strong illusion because that's what we wanted, because the soul wanted to become God. The soul wanted to become God, wanted to become the controller, the enjoyer. So Krishna had to create that energy. So actually, the cause for Maya is us, in one sense.
Yeah, but Mum wants me to check it with. No, I'm on the meeting. Oh, he's in his meeting. Close the door.
Oh, that's
So,
how it works.
yeah, I know. But yeah, we can't complain really because we're the cause of Maya being there because we had that desire to enjoy without Krishna, to enjoy separately from Krishna, to try to imitate Krishna. So Krishna has to create a whole illusory realm for us to do that. So
that's where you said that why you come here is because of your desires, because you try to
yes,
lord
it over material
okay,
energy.
try it. You go and try it and see how it goes.
Yeah. So we can't blame Krishna for creating this powerful Maya because we wanted it. But at the same time, if we understand where we went wrong in that desire to try to become God, and we can correct that by saying, I've suffered so much trying to be God. I've realized now I don't want to become God. I want to serve God. Please engage me in your service, Krishna. Then that reverses the process. Then we can reverse the process and we can get free from Maya. So it's just, but having that knowledge, once again, knowledge, we've got to have that knowledge of understanding exactly what Maya is, and understanding the means of how to get free from the influence of Maya and getting back into our original position. Yeah, so these are all very important subjects, very interesting things.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, let's continue. We've got a few more minutes.
Okay.
In the previous
mantra, it has already been discussed that no living being, not even the powerful demigod, can surpass the Supreme Being in any respect. Therefore, Ekatvam does not mean that a living being is equal in all respect to the Supreme Lord. It does, however, indicate that in a broader sense, there is one interest. Just as in a family, the interest of all members is one, or in a nation, the national interest is one, although there are many different citizens. Since the living entities are all members of the same Supreme Family, their interest and that of the Supreme Being are not different. Every living being is the son of the Supreme Being. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7.5, all living creatures throughout the universe, including birds, reptiles, ants, aquatic trees, and so on, are emanations of the marginal potency of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all of them belong to the family of the Supreme Being. There is no clash of interest. I think you already explained that part.
Yeah. But what an interesting thing is here is we are the marginal potency, which is called Tatastha Shakti. So I think we've talked about that before, but just a little reminder. So Tatastha or marginal means, because like I said, we have free choice. So we can either go to the Krishna side or to the Maya side. So that's the choice we have. So we're Tatastha like that. And so that's a big responsibility, that we do have free choice, and depending on how we use that is going to completely change the experience that we have. Either we can go to the spiritual world, live there eternally and be blissful, or we can rotate and so many different species, 8,400,000 species, and just suffer, birth and death, janma mrityu. So and that choice we have, so that's powerful. And so because in this particular human form, we've been given a higher consciousness, so we have an ability to get knowledge. We have that chaitana, mati, that more highly evolved consciousness. So depending on how we use that.
And this free will, I mean, free choice, it's also part of, because we desired it, right? Because we wanted to lord over. I mean, we have the free choice given to us. It's because we wanted it, we desired for it, we wanted to lord over the material. So that's also part of it, because he gave us that because we want to lord it over. So you make a decision, what do you want to do?
Well,
like that? Is
that well, see, once again, comes back to we're part of God. So God has unlimited free choice, right? It's called swarat. Swarat means independent. Swarat, one of the Lord's qualities. He's swarat. He's completely independent. Like you have in India, right? They use the word swaraj. Swaraj means they want to become independent from the British, right?
Yeah.
You're your own king, you know. Yeah. Raj means king, right? So you're your own, not you're under someone else, another king. You're your own king, you know. So when they wanted to become independent from the British, they call it Swaraj. So become an independent king. So Krishna is Swarat. He's completely independent. So we're part of him. So we also have that, you know, independent tendency that we can make up our own mind and have that free choice. So, but he's got unlimited free choice, but we only have minute free choice. So, and people criticize God for that too. Why did God give us free choice, knowing that we might misuse it and try to enjoy the material world? Come here, you know, God shouldn't have given us. This is a bad thing, free choice. He shouldn't have given it. But I mean, we're part of him. We can't not have his qualities. But another thing is that free choice has to be there in order for a loving relationship to take place. Because if I have to serve Krishna, I have no choice, I have to serve Krishna, then I become like a robot. You know, I become like a machine, a robot, you know, just programmed, you know, that I have to serve him. And what kind of satisfaction is that going to be for Krishna? That, you know, would you want to be served by robots? If your wife and your children were like robots and they're programmed that they have to.
Or it's like animals, right? Animals are similar. If you take up the, I mean, I don't know. I mean, animals don't have. Maybe they have, but that question came to my mind as well. That why he has given the free choice. I mean, that's the thing. And as you explained it, that it's because we are part of him and we have the 80% quality of him, right?
Yeah.
So it's
there's
like
a storm. There's heavy rain where I am. It's hard to hear now. It's a heavy rain.
Okay.
Actually raining on the roof.
Okay, I think probably we should
climb up anyway. But yeah, so free choice is very important from that point of view. That it's necessary for loving relationships. That has to be there. I mean, if we said to our wives, "You love me, or I'm going to shoot you," you know, that's not the way it works. You know, that's because they're serving voluntarily. Voluntarily, they want to serve. That's what makes the exchange special. That's what makes it sweet. Is because I don't have to serve you, but I want to serve you. I enjoy to serve you. It's not because I have to serve you, but because I want to. Like the citizens paying taxes to the government is not a loving relationship, is it? Because you have to pay taxes.
Yes,
you have to. It's not because I want to pay taxes. It's I have to do it. So, but with a loving relationship, it's different. You don't have to do it. I could love someone else, but I choose to love you. I could love anybody, but I choose to love this one particular person. So, and that's what makes the relationship very sweet, very special. And Krishna wants that kind of love. He doesn't want this kind of love.
Yeah.
You know, he wants that where people choose, and that therefore we have to be tatastha. We have to, that tatastha is very important, that marginal, that you have choice. You can serve Krishna or you can serve somebody else, serve yourself, you know, and that choice is there. And but that's very essential to get that real love. And
yeah, I think that makes sense totally. Yeah, because you can't force. He doesn't want to force us to love him. Basically,
no, I mean
it's
he could,
he could, but
but
he
then
wants
that's
you
going
to
to
develop
spoil
naturally.
the relationship, you know.
That makes sense, yeah.
You know, you wouldn't want to turn your house into a prison, would you?
No.
They're, you know, they're strictly under your control and everything like that. And no, I mean, you could do that, but it's going to be very dry kind of relationships. It's going to be very dry.
What about the so when we are saying Tatast Shakti, that means marginal, that includes all the living entities, right? All Jivatmas, which includes all the animals, or 8,000, 8 million.
Yeah. So every individual spirit soul comes in that Tatastha Shakti. From Lord Brahma down to the microscopic bug, they're all Tatastha. But so they were in the spiritual world, they have free choice there. Now they've fallen down into the material world. But if you end up in the body of a worm or an ant or something like that, you don't have the free choice anymore. You're very tamasic, so you're just eating and sleeping and mating and so forth. Only in the human species we get a bit of that free choice back. Only in the human species, although the soul is the same, the same kind of soul in the ant and the worm and the bird and the beast, but only in the human species that higher consciousness becomes awakened a little bit, so that we can manifest that free choice. That's why it's said minute free choice. So when we come into the material world, our free choice becomes really minute, and we only really have the minute in the human species, and in the non-human species, which is 8 million other than human, then it's like pretty much no free choice. You're just forced to act like an animal, forced to act like a bird, forced to act like a fish or whatever like that. That's why the human species is so special, because we're getting some free choice back again. But that free choice was taken away because we've misused it. Because we had free choice and we've misused it, and then it's taken away. Yeah.
So what do you mean by taken away? Because I think how do what is the meaning when you say taken away? Means you actually started thinking you are God, and then he puts back you into it. That's why you take it off, or what?
Yeah, and especially like if you're in the human form of life, and you performed very sinful activities, like for example, killing animals and so forth, or just a lot of sex life and indulging like that, then you get put in a lower species that you can't do bad things anymore.
Then you don't have the freedom.
Like for example, you know, someone that's, you know, involved with killing, they might take birth as a dog or a tiger or a cat or something, so he can't do so much harm anymore. He can still fulfill those desires to eat, but he can't do big damage. Like he's not going to open a slaughterhouse, you know, like that. You know, or if someone's like a prostitute, then the prostitute, they take birth as like in a tree body. So because they like to be naked. So a tree is naked, right? Like naked to the wind, naked to the rain, naked to the sun, is exposed. But they're stuck in one place. They can't do anything anymore. So their desire to be naked is fulfilled, but their ability to cause harm is taken away. They're rooted down in the ground. You can't move. You can't move. So like that, depending on how someone misuses the human form of life, then the freedom is taken away and they're put in the lower species in more tamasic situation. So their desires being fulfilled. They wanted to eat in a particular way, have sex in a particular way, or whatever. So their desires fulfilled in that species, but that free choice that they were causing harm with that free choice, that is taken away. So they can't cause that harm anymore. Does that make sense?
Yep. So if you're going if you misuse it, you go back to the species where the freedom of choice is much. There's no freedom of choice, or very narrow, or very small.
You're very narrow,
comparison to human.
I mean, we even do that in human society. If you don't follow the laws, you get thrown in jail, and your free choice is taken away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, what free choice do you have in the jail? You have to get up when they want you to get up. You have to eat the food they want you to eat when they want you to eat it. You have to do the work they tell you to do. So it's like that, So taking birth in a lower species is like going to jail.
Yeah, I think I can see that where we have copied that system from. Somebody must have. It's like in IT, there's something called databases. The system has the structure, same as to maintain itself as well. So the database maintain itself using the same structure as it's used by others. So it's like similar system, but the God has actually put, as you said, that system of breaking of the freedom. And in our life, in this, we are saying police, and if you do something wrong, you're going into jail. Freedom is taken off. You are out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see that we have copied some of the stuff from Vedas. I mean, even though we don't do that, but it's.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything's coming from Vedic culture. So, I mean, the whole Vedic culture is all over the world up to 5,000 years ago. So does Kali Yuga's come in, it's deteriorated, but we still have the remnants of it. Like even our justice system. Well, where does the principle of justice come from? It comes from God. He's the supreme justice. So all these things like law, like justice, I mean, we have this morality called truthfulness, right? Where does truthfulness come from? Comes from the absolute truth, from Param Satya. Satyam is God, is Satyam. He's always true. He's the supreme truth. So where do we get the idea from that we should tell the truth? It comes from God, but we've forgotten God. But the principle comes from God, but we've forgotten where it comes from. So in Krishna consciousness, we're starting to remember now. Now I know where that comes from. Where does cleanliness come from? Truthfulness come from? Patience come from? Enthusiasm come from? Where does water come from? The air comes from? It's all coming from that source. So, but I know even my parents, taught me to always tell the truth, but they're atheists. They don't understand that principle of truth comes from God, but they say there is no God, but they like that principle of truth. See, they like that idea, to be honest, to be truthful, but they don't realize that it comes from the person that they don't like. They don't like God, but they like all the things that He's created. That comes from Him.
Yeah.
So that's our illusion. That's our illusion.
So true, and we have the qualities of the God. That's why our systems are similar in nature. As you say, taking freedom off. We are following. I mean, we are copying, but it's probably because we are a part and parcel. We have, as you said, 78% quality.
Yeah.
So we are basically copying that. So probably that's I think I've taken too much of your time. Thank you very much.
It's all good. Well, it's been very pleasurable once again.
Yeah, it's very, it's thought provoking actually.